What is going on, guys? This is Platinum Point, and I'm here to bring you guys yet again another Weiss Schwarz deck profile. This one is special because this is my Saekano deck after the Weiss Grand Prix that we had for Heart of the Cards. And I'm glad to say that I actually went undefeated with this deck. I went EXO and went first place, so I am slated hopefully to go to nationals. We'll see how it goes. So for Saekano there are multiple builds, but the most popular build is the bar door combo, bar door pair, and I'm actually playing that right now. So I managed to get foils, which is really nice. So the deck's actually pretty consistent. The main goal of the deck is to memory compress as much as you can, and then get your deck to a decent compressed state where you're building stock towards your end game, which is you're going to be trying to play at least two or more of the 3-2 Kato finisher. If you guys don't remember, please check out my last Saekano deck profile. I'll put the link in the card, in the iCard up in the right hand corner, and the link in the description below, so you can see that card in action, or rather that card in full explanation. So after playtesting all the variety builds, I started to see why the bar combo was so much better, and I'll get to it when I explain that card. So the matchup was actually, it was only 4 rounds. Sadly, it was a very small regionals because it's over Discord and it's all social distancing because of that. So not a lot of players at my locals were participating, and I completely understand it. But we did have a lot of our top players at our locals who are competitive jump in. So it was still a it was actually a fairly difficult event. And the best part about it being online and online regionals was that multiple people from other areas of the world could join in, and we did have a few players from other parts of the United States and one from Canada, which is really interesting. So other than that, before I get into the deck profile, please check out my Konosuba deck profile post Crimson update. The deck was actually my rough draft version. I have an updated one. I'm not going to show it yet because I'm still kind of fine-tuning it. But overall, the deck is pretty interesting in terms of gameplay for Konosuba. For Saekano, back to Saekano, that is, this deck is actually really fun and has become one of my go-to decks. So I'm planning on foiling out this deck as much as I can before the ban list. I'll do an update once the ban list comes out. But right now, this is what I have. My first place Saekano deck profile. Starting off with the characters. Start off with level 0. So I am playing 4 copies of the Izumi runner. You guys should remember what it does. It's a mill runner, and when it has the active ability, pay 1, put this into memory, then look up to the top 4 cards of your deck and add a game character. So this is your kind of main form of compression at the early stages of the game. I found that after playtesting that you actually want to hold this as much as you can, because you don't want to kind of blow this card up, like just kick it to memory as often as you can, because this allows you to help. It's really useful for crisis management. So it's one card I actually don't put into memory that often. This card I do put into memory, which is 4 copies of the Entity Drop Search. So it's a unique drop search where it has to be reversed, and when it comes into play, it gives another character plus 2k, so it allows you to answer really cheeky boards that you shouldn't have win without playing this. and it makes it very easy to do so. And when it gets reversed, it's a pay 1, send this to memory, and discard 1 and drop search. I mean, yeah, so it's basically a drop search with memory compression. Next, I play 4 copies of the Utaha JC. If you don't know what JC is, JCs are basically characters that have the ability, when another character is front attack, you can either put this into memory or put this into clock with SEO Alicization's case, and you get to bounce that character that's being front attacked. So this allows you to deny on reverse combos, and with Saekano, this you can use. It's good throughout all stages of the game. Even denying on reverse finishers is really nice, because you can pretty much save that and then play that character again in order for a crackback play. For the level 0s, I only play 2 copies of the Tap Self Search Brainstorm. This deck thins itself very well that you don't need to play 3 or 4, which is the conventional wisdom for most brainstormers at the 0 step. But since this deck has actually 6, because you also have the level 1 that this changes into, you actually can get away with just only playing 2, you can even get away with playing 1. I've seen some lists play 1, but personally I like 2 because I want to be able to have access to a brainstormer early game and kind of thin out my deck as quickly as I can to get to first refresh. I also play 2 copies of the Utaha Riki, which is when it gets reversed, pay 1, clock yourself, send this to memory, and salvage a character from your waiting room, a game character. And then lastly, we play 2 copies of this Utaha from set 2. So what this does is, when it comes into play, you can put a card from your hand to stock, and when this attacks, you can pay 1 twin drive check. So this allows you to hand filter, get climaxes out of your extra climaxes out of your hand, so you can use that for twin drive, so that way you don't have to burn clean stock in order to twin drive. You can just make your stock dirty, clean it out with the twin drive check, and get deeper into your deck. So that's the main reason why I play the 0-0 Utaha. And it pairs well with JC since you can just bounce it back. Next, we play 4 copies for the level 1 step, that is. 4 copies of the level 1 Megumi Climax combo, which combos with the bar. So this combo is essentially the level 1 Megumi combo for Konosuba, which is the on attack, pay 1 twin drive check, and it gets the ability when this card gets front attack bounce. But this card's actually much more broken in Saekano because of the climax that it's comboed with, which is a gold bar. So it will always go to your hand when you trigger it, so you're always able to loop it. And this card was actually pretty clutch for me, almost qualifying for the 2nd spot for MVP, because it allowed me to deny my opponents on reverse finishes, and it kind of forced them to side, which allowed me to kind of have a buffer zone, which is really nice. Continuing on with the 1 step, we play 4 copies of the Tap Self Search Brainstorm for the 1 step, which changes into the 0 step, and you already know what it changes into, the 2-1. If you've seen my last deck profile, you've seen me cover this card before. Lastly, for the level 1 characters, that is, I do play another level 1 card, and I'll go into it later, is the Megumi Shimakai from set 2, and this Entity anti-standby character. So what the Shimakai does is when she attacks, you can give another character plus 500 times the total number of game characters that you control. So you can, at max, you give another character plus 2k. So it allows you to, again, answer tough boards that you normally wouldn't be able to answer. So you basically side with this or front a character that you can reverse with this card, and give the power to the other character that you're trying to break the board with. You'll sometimes use it to pump this if you're dealing with a level 2 that's very difficult to answer. So what she does, this entity, is if you have a card in memory, she gains the the ability plus 2,500, and the other ability, if you're facing a level 2 character, it gains plus 6k. So this becomes a 12-5 on its own, 13-5, 14 with climax, and if you have this booster on. So this answers a lot of the standby targets that your opponent may play at level 1, so it kind of makes them regret playing the standby, and helps you kind of combat their board presence in an easier fashion. So I play one of each for that. And then lastly, I play 2 copies of this 1-0 event from set 1. So what this does is you can tap 2 characters on board. They do not become standard until not till your next turn, but after your next turn. And so what you do is search your deck for a game character, then select 1 game character in your waiting room, put it into your stock, and put this at the bottom of your deck. So this card is really good because your deck can bypass the tap 2 restriction of not being able to untap, because most of the cards go into memory, the ones that you will be tapping. So you can bypass that and get all the pluses off of the effect, which is a search and a stock, being able to stock a character from your waiting room put a character from your waiting room to stock. So this card is really busted because it allows you to compress your deck in multiple ways. And I've done it sometimes where I pair it with this level 0 and just get net two free stock, and then I get to launch a climax combo, the level 1 climax combo, and not worry about having to decompress my deck. And the best part is, since you know this is at the bottom, you can modify your deck thinning plan to make sure that this goes into stock before refresh, so that way you can compress even further and get this out of your deck. Another thing you could also do is compress to a point where you can draw it next turn, and basically use this all over again to recompress further and dig for pieces. Lastly, for the now enter the 2-step. I'll go through this quick. I play 1 copy of the free fresh backup and 4 copies of the 2-1 level boost Megumi that changes from the level 1. So it has the other ability at the start of my climax step when I'm at level 3, pay 1, put this into memory, and change into the level 3 that's in my waiting room. So that's it for the 2s. For the level 3s, I play 7, which is 1 copy of the Trial Deck Entity. When it comes into play, you get to check up to the top number of cards, X equals to the total number of game characters on board. So you basically play this to dig for your climax, for the door climax, to set up your finish. So you're usually going to play this as the 5th card, so you can dig through 5 cards and potentially get the climax. So besides that, I'm also playing. Oh yeah, it also has the unique the helpful ability that your opponent cannot play backups when this attacks. So it's great to kind of bait out, push for damage to help set up your finish better. Next, I play 2 copies of the early play healer. So this is basically Yuna from Sword Art Online Ordinal Scale. 2 or less climax, it gets -1 level. On play heal. On attack, you have 500 equal to the total number of characters on board, minus itself. So you're going to give 2k. And then lastly, for the level 3s, 4 copies of the Kato finisher. So if you you can check out the last video that I did on Saekano where I explained the first effect, which is memory dependent. This is basically the MVP of the deck because it's allowed me to execute my game plan of finishing without problems, and ultimately it was one of the main reasons that I was able to win most of my matches, because of the amount of instances of damage it hits. So if you have a full board of this, it's 6 instances of damage, and since it's a burn 2, it bypasses a lot of the anti-burn ones, which is really prevalent in JP. There's a couple of decks that have anti-burn 1, so this bypasses that. And the fact is, it's just a really strong finisher. It has the benefits of having a on-reverse burn 2, with it also being hexproof. So ultimately, this was kind of my favorite card, and I'm glad I got this as an SB. I hope I can get 3 more SBs, but with the current price as it is, which is I think 300, I was just lucky to have 1. So that's it for the deck profile. The next one I'll probably be posting is going to be my Data Live deck pre-ban list, if I can get it in. If not, I'll just wait for the ban list to come out and show you guys my post-ban list deck, because I feel like that would be more interesting than a pre-ban list one, since it's pretty much looks exactly the same as any other Data Live list. So I hope you guys like this deck profile. Don't forget to subscribe and false crack that like button. And if you want to check out the previous Saekano video where I go into depth with the effects of the new card of these cards and the other flat cards that I use, please check it out. I'll put it in the once again in the link in the description below. If I don't put it in the iCards, if I didn't put it in the iCards in this video, don't worry about that. It'll be at the end cards of this video, so please check it out. Once again, this is Platinum Point signing out. Stay on point, guys, and peace out, YouTube.
語れない